The streaming is going out to YouTube and Facebook on the Shir Shalom site, as well as to our Boxcast. So welcome everyone to our pulpit exchange, our Shabbat evening service. We're glad to be in our own homes and be able to chance to see one another and to be together and to be safe and warm. Some of our members didn't get any snow, and some of them got 3 feet of snow. So it's really nice just to be able to gather. We're very lucky tonight. We have Pastor Bill Hennessy with us, and we have our annual pulpit exchange. This is actually, I would say, our 10th pulpit exchange. I think it started right after Shir Shalom started. And so I think we're almost at 10 years at this point, hard to believe. So a lot of you don't actually need a prayer book for this. Cantor has prepared some slides, so you'll be able to see that. And we're gonna be discussing loving your neighbor in the middle section. Pastor Hennessy and I will have something. But let's start off with a little Hine Matov to get us warmed up.
Oops. Okay. Everything's fine, just the different Hine Matov is in this one. So here we go. Well, how good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Don't follow the English on that. The wrong screen is in for some reason. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim kam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim kam yachad. Try with me. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim kam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim kam yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is,
Sweet it is
to be together on this day. How good it is,
how good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together on this day. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim kam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim kam yachad.
Wonderful. How wonderful it is for us to be together as community. So I'm going to turn it over to Bruce to offer the official welcome, and we welcome Bruce back.
Good to be here. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Shazoom, our Shabbat Zoom service. We haven't done one of these in a while. But you know, it's funny, I was thinking about this when we were doing our discussion earlier in the week of how do we handle Friday night with the weather and what can we do? And I realized that this is something good that came out of COVID. because before COVID, we wouldn't have done a Friday night service on Zoom. We would have either said, well, take your chances and drive to the temple, or we'll just do a live stream and you sit at home and watch, but that still would mean the rabbi and the cantor and Joanne and a couple others of us would still have to be there. So we'd still be telling people, go out when the weather's bad, so we can have a Friday night service. More likely, we would have just had to cancel it. We've done that in the past. There have been plenty of Friday nights where the weather was bad and we just couldn't have a service. We don't have to do that anymore. And we can be together and we're all home, we're all safe, we're all warm. Hopefully everyone has bread and milk in the house, and we can be together. And for people who, don't necessarily get to Friday night services every week or even occasionally, Zoom is a nice alternative. You get to see other people's faces, you get to be part of it. So it's a nice way to do a Friday night service. And it's a good thing that came out of COVID. Go figure. So we have a special service tonight. It's our pulpit exchange. I'll be back later with some announcements. And in the meantime, Rabbi and Cantor, we have a wonderful musical and spiritual service tonight.
Thank you. And, Bruce, we wore the same shirt.
Well, look at that.
That must have been planned. So we're going to continue with our service. Cantor has shared her screen here. We have our candle lighting. So if you have candles available, why don't you light them? If not, like our candles, we already lit as a family. But if you'd like to light your candles, and we will say the blessing together.
Okay, so we'll do Shalom Aleichem after that then?
Oh, yeah, we could do Shalom Aleichem first. Sorry, I had that differently. So whatever you like.
Oh, yeah? Oh, then let's do that. Let's do that then. I'll come back. You want to do the candles? Great.
So do you have are you going to the Zoom? Sorry, this is the way it works on Zoom. Do you want to, let's take down the screen for just a second. I wanted to do something.
Sure.
I love our logo there.
I remember how. Here we go.
Let's just take a moment.
Bringing back memories.
Exactly. Let's really look at each other. The way that you do this in Zoom is you just look at the screen, whoever you're looking at, because we don't know who we're looking at. Take an opportunity now just to look around the room and, wave if you like, and just really be present with each other. Okay, wonderful. So Cantor, why don't you share the screen for the candle lighting, and then we'll do that. And if you have candles you'd like to light in your own homes, feel free to do it. Just stay safe.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
May the warmth of the candles light our way through Shabbat. If you have Kiddush, wine or grape juice, you can lift it, or whatever drink you have, as we wish each other we officially sanctify the day of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit kivuyam tehillah b'mikra'ei kodesh sefer nesiat Mitzrayim Ivanu v'chaita Yotanu kidashta Mikol ha'avim B'Shabbat שלך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. Amen.
L'chaim. Now I think we are ready to welcome the angels of Shabbat. These are the angels that sit on our shoulders and keep us peace, allow us to rest. The word for rest in Hebrew, nafash, is also the same root for your soul. And so we understand we get our second soul as we come into it. So Cantor, if you want, just, I know we're starting to get in practice. I think you have a slide probably for Shalom Aleichem.
It's not showing?
We still have the candle slide.
That's strange. Is it going on now?
No, why don't you stop the share and then share again?
I love the word share, but it's wonderful that that in Zoom language you use sharing. I am sharing. I never thought about that before.
It's there. It's there now.
So it's being glitchy. Okay. Here we go. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
I can feel those angels on us and protecting us on this Shabbat. We're now ready to welcome officially for Shabbat. So what you should do is look towards your whatever doorway you have or window and imagine that Shabbat is approaching us and we are ready to welcome her in with L'cha Dodi. And again, Cantor, it's still on Shalom Aleichem.
Ah, can't explain why. Did it change?
Not yet. Oh.
No, I think you need to stop the share and reshare, please.
I think clearly the weather is having an impact. It's freezing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It's good.
I thought maybe Elon Musk, maybe he fired all the people at Zoom too.
Let me try something. You are screen sharing. Okay, good.
It's on now.
All right, I think this is going to change now. No, it keeps saying it's on pause. All right, here we go. Lecha lecha dodi, lekati kakala, pni pni דודי, לקראת לקקלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת לקקלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. שמעו וזכור בדיבור אחד, ישמיעו אליו אחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, ישיבו תפארת ונתחילה לה 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 לה. לך דודי, לקראת לקקלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת לקקלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. אוהי ושלום בתרפלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תקמוני בסגולה, מוי חלה, מוי חלה. לך דודי, לקראת לקקלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת לקקלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לה. לך דודי, לקראת לקקלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת לקקלה, פני פני שבת.
I feel Shabbat's presence among us, and we're ready to do our prayer of community, our call of community, the Baruch Hu. Let's see if it works this time. Did it shift on your screen? Because we're still not shifted.
Can you see it now?
Yes, now we can see it.
Okay, now tell me if you see it. Do you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Ha'ed.
I love all the different scenes. It's bringing back so many memories. Okay, yeah, now we can see. So we have a reading if you want to join me. Oh God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthest most star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Oh, let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו שוכבנו וגולנו נשיח בחוקתך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי כן אתה סלמנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuta Le'olam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuta Le'olam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
If you are standing, you may be seated.
Did it change?
This one did. This one stayed up. Now it's going. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, all right then. Did it change?
Yes.
Good, thank you. Adonai Elohecha b'chol levovecha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם מאוד בידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם המזוזות ביתך ולשברך למען תזכרו עשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני Adonai Elohechem.
As we move from one biblical prayer to another, we're actually moving in points of the story. We moved from Deuteronomy and now back to Exodus. And that moment of Exodus is very different than the moment of Deuteronomy. In Deuteronomy, we're formed. We're one people. We know who we are. We can sing Shema Yisrael. When we're singing the Mi Chamocha, we are a mixed multitude. We walk through both the sons of Jacob and the Egyptians and people from all over, whoever was collected in that group. And as we think about our topic later on of who is our neighbor, it's important to remember we sang the Mi Chamocha with neighbors and became a community through that.
Yabai, yabai, babai, yabai, I bim bam. Yabai, babai, babai, yabai, I bim bam. Yabai, babai, yabai, I bim bam. Yabai, babai, yabai, I bim bam. Mi kamocha. Try with me. Ya bye, ya bye, bye, bim bum. 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 Mahal kutzka, round. Moshe u'Miriam, Zeli, Anu ve'Amru, Adonai Elon, Le'olam va'ed. Try with me. Yamai, 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 bim bam. Yamai, 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 bim bam. Yamai, 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 bim bam. Yamai, 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 bim bam.
That was really fun. Thank you, Cantor. Again, read together with us. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadow of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety. In your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporech sukkot shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. When it says our Jerusalem and yours, there's an understanding there's two Jerusalems, the heavenly Jerusalem and the one that is reserved for people. And we are continuing as I think we're going to need Linda for her clapping. She's been doing a great job. So follow Linda's clapping lead as Cantor leads in the Vishamru.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael Shabbat La'asot et Shabbat L'toratam berit olam Vishamru v'nei Yisrael Shabbat La'asot et Shabbat L'toratam berit olam Beini uvein ben Israel Oti leolam Oti leolam. Sing it with me. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael Hashaman La'asot et Hashaman L'toratam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael Hashaman La'asot et Hashaman L'toratam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael Hashaman La'asot et Hashaman L'toratam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael Hashaman La'asot et Hashaman L'toratam berit olam.
If you're able to rise, please rise. Find a place that is prayerful. We're going to begin, before we turn to the Amidah, the standing prayer, we're going to begin with this traditional introduction, the Adonai Svatai. May our lips speak, declare your praise.
Ufiagin Tehilatecha Anananananana Adonai Ananananana Satatita Ananananana Ufiagin Ufiagin Tehilatecha Ananananana Adonai Ananananana Satatita Ananananana Ufiagin Ufiagin Tehilatecha.
Take an opportunity now either to turn off your screens or just find some private place. And we are going to just have your opportunity for your own private prayers whenever you're ready, or when everyone comes back together, we will resume our prayers with a prayer for peace. As we look out into the beautiful image of Jerusalem, just houses, and we think about peace, we send it to that region and throughout the world.
Oh, Shalom Imrama Uyan Shalom Aleinu Be'al Kol Yisrael Ve'imru Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ya'kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al 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 Yisrael.
Beautiful. We're going to turn our attention to healing. And I'm going to invite us to, at this point, if you have a name you want to say, just unmute yourself and say this name out loud, or feel free just to say your name in your heart or in your muted screen as well. So just we'll begin turning our attention to people that we're thinking about.
Brooke Lerner,
Joni Schwartz,
Roy Post and Nicholas Warren Tepper.
We'll bring all those names into our hearts as we sing this prayer for healing.
When I sing the English, you can repeat after me. Dear God of our ancestors,
Dear God of our ancestors,
help us renew our faith.
help us renew our faith.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Bring peace to all our days.
Bring peace to all our days.
Restore our strength of body.
Restore our strength of body.
Help clarify our minds.
Help clarify our minds.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Rejuvenate our lights.
Rejuvenate our lights.
Thank you for all these blessings.
Thank you for all these blessings.
Throughout our days and nights.
Throughout our days and nights.
We celebrate the journey.
We celebrate the journey.
This precious gift of life.
This precious gift of life.
And
May our prayers go out to those in need. May people be comforted with the song that we sung, and may we be comforted. How wonderful it is to be together. This week, I'm sure for all of us, has been full of mixed blessings, wonderful things, hard things. In our Buffalo community, this was a week where we remembered the 6-month mark since the 5/14 shooting. That is an attack that really left a mark. It really showed some of the inadequacies we have here in Buffalo, the ways that we don't operate together. And we've begun to really try to bring our communities together. This year, Reverend Hennessy and myself, we decided when we were thinking about what to speak about and what to focus our attention on this year, we decided that we would like to focus on what does it mean to be a neighbor. We found out through what happened that even though we might live near one another, we don't always see one another as neighbors. It's very important that we break down those barriers. And we thought we'd turn to our religious tradition. So I'm going to start off with a little bit on the Jewish perspective. And I'm going to share a story of someone, of course, that I shared on High Holidays as well. Let me just get this ready. Okay, just give me 1 second. So when we think about the essence of religion, the golden rule, loving your neighbor as yourself. Of course, this is a very complicated thing. It's central to Judaism and Christianity and Islam and pretty much every religion in the world, is how we treat one another. From a Jewish perspective, first of all, this is the line. It's so beautiful in Hebrew. And I wanted to show this to you because it's just 3 words. Love your neighbor as yourself. It's a little bit more complicated, but v'ahavta l're'echa kamocha. Listen to it. Do you hear the music in it? V'ahavta l're'echa kamocha. Say it to yourself. Feel that. It is really meant to be sung, to be thought of, to be something that a mantra in our religion. This is where it comes from. You see on the right, Leviticus 19, taken from Sepharia here. And the verse is, verse 19, verse 18, you shall not bear a vengeance or grudge against members of your people, and then love your fellow Israelite as yourself. Now, of course, this is one translation. We usually say neighbor, but it also extends beyond Israelite, at least that we see it. From Rashi, you see on the left side there, Rabbi Akiva said this is the fundamental principle of the Torah, the golden rule. Here are just a few Jewish commentaries. Chizkuni, one of the traditional, I think he's Italian. If you and everyone else will practice this virtue, you will contribute to peaceful relations between a person and their fellow. You are to put yourself mentally into the position of your fellow human being, and therefore not to do anything to them that you would not have others do to you. So it's really about thinking about others as if they were you. Ramban, not Rambam, this is Nachmanides, wrote, sometimes a person will love his neighbor in certain matters, such as doing good to him in material wealth, but not with wisdom in similar matters. But if he loves him completely, he will want his beloved friend to gain riches, property, honor, knowledge, and wisdom. So it's wishing the exact same things for you as for others. And a modern commentary, Nechama Leibowitz, a wonderful female commentator from the 20th century, the Torah commands us to love our neighbor with the highest quality of love we reserve for ourselves. She says there's different types of love. We need to go beyond just the base love to something that we just have for ourselves. So this High Holidays, I spoke about the life of Tibor Baranski. Here's this beautiful picture. He was born in 1922 in Hungary, in Budapest, 2000, and he lived to 2019, right before the pandemic. He, of course, came as a 22-year-old and came back to help his neighbor family with 9 of them, the Xerxes family, and went to the papal nuncio, the head of Catholic in Budapest, and got passes for them, and wasn't done there. He ended up saving some 10 to 12,000 lives, putting his own life at risk. And he said the whole time, I only did what God demanded of me. I'm only a useless servant. He really is the epitome of loving your neighbor as yourself. So I'm going to stop our share at this point. And I'm going to turn it over to my good friend, Bill Hennessy, somewhere on the Zoom world, to take it from there in terms of the Christian perspective.
Thank you, Alex. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate these times when we can get together and share our common understandings and learn from one another. For Christians, this idea of loving your neighbor is very central to the teachings of Jesus. And it's expressed in all the Gospels, at least 3 of the 4 directly, but in Luke's Gospel is where it is given a bit more substance, and Jesus sort of elaborates on it somewhat. And this is, so I just thought I'd read a passage to you from the Gospel of Luke. And this is a place, a time when Jesus is he's teaching and people are coming around and engaging him a bit. And it says, just then a lawyer stood up to test Jesus. Teacher, he said, what must I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus responds in typical sort of rabbinic fashion. He says, well, what's written in the law? What do you read there? And the lawyer responds, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. So Jesus says to him, well, you're right. Do those things and you'll live. But then the lawyer, it says, wanting to justify himself, says, and who is my neighbor? And so this sort of opens up an opportunity to think more broadly. And this is when Jesus tells a story. And this is very typical of Jesus in the Gospels. He responds to questions with parable. And this parable is a fairly familiar one for Christians, where Jesus talks about, he says, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell into the hands of robbers, who stripped him, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. Now, by chance, a priest was going down the road, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. So likewise, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, while traveling, came near him, and when he saw him, he was moved with pity. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, having poured oil and wine on them. Then he put him on his own animal, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii, gave them to the innkeeper, and said, take care of him, and when I come back, I will repay you whatever more you spend. Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers? The lawyer answers, the one who showed him mercy. And Jesus said to him, go and do likewise. So Jesus is I think, offering a challenge to his listeners to think differently about their neighbor. And that story, unfortunately, has been used too often by Christians in a negative way. As I've been reading it and reading about it, I've been using an interpretation by a scholar named Amy Jill Levine. This is her book, Short Stories by Jesus. If you ever have a chance to read it, she's a wonderful Jewish scholar of the New Testament, which sounds odd, but she brings a terrific perspective. And she points out that, Christians over the years, Christian commentators and interpreters have tended to use that particular story and other parables, but this one in particular, as a way of sort of denigrating Judaism and elevating Christianity. And unfortunately, so we've sort of ironically been very unneighborly in our use of this parable. And she points out that for the listening audience around Jesus, this story would have caused them to be concerned for the man who was lying in the ditch, which is where their attention should be. Christian interpreters have tended to place themselves in the position of the Samaritan rather than looking at the world through the lens of the person in the ditch. And the people who walk by are doing that possibly, we don't know, but possibly out of fear, perhaps for their own safety. And the Samaritan comes by and focuses on the person who is in trouble. The real sort of, turning point in that story is that the person who brings help is in fact an enemy, and someone who the audience around Jesus at that time would have been taught to be suspicious of. There was a bad relation between Jews and Samaritans for all sorts of historical reasons. So it would have been sort of a real sort of dissonance for them to hear this story and imagine a Samaritan of all people being in a position of bringing help. My understanding of Jesus' message is similar, I guess, to what Alex and I and some others were taught not a few years ago by the visiting rabbi at Temple Beth Tzedek, who understood Jesus' teachings to be about inclusion. And Jesus is constantly encouraging his listeners to think more broadly and about their relationships and how they interact with others. This is a great example of that, and it's one I think that we are constantly being confronted with in relation to the memory of the tragedy that occurred in May, the atrocity, really, and our relationship with the Black community here in Buffalo, and how do we, how do we cross that divide that we have here? And I think it begins with that sense of selflessness, like Mr. Baranski demonstrated in his life. We have to let go of our concern for ourselves and look at our neighbors who are in need. So this is the message that Jesus teaches, and it's all so deeply rooted, of course, in his own experience as a Jew and Jewish ethic that he teaches. So this is how our understanding in the Christian church is around the importance of reaching out to the neighbor and always working to broaden that those relationships and be more inclusive and more inviting. I don't know, Alex, if you have.
Well, I just want to really thank Bill and also North Presbyterian. We're neighbors, physical neighbors. We're half a block down. Really, and it's really important that we feel connection to one another. We might share different faiths and different traditions, but I think over the time of our pulpit exchange and the Thanksgiving drive and all the different programs we do together, I feel like our community is comfortable with one another. And I think May 14th was just a demonstration that we have to. These are not relationships that we can take for granted, but we need to continue to nurture them. And this is one of our more important weekends as we prepare the food baskets for Thanksgiving that will not only help so many people within this area, but also nurture our relationships together. How blessed we are to have you. Many years ago, Bill knocked on my door. I think he literally did that. That's what started our relationship and what started the pulpit exchange as well.
I think
Thanksgiving best.
Learning to figuring out what it is that keeps us from engaging those folks, from engaging other communities. What is it that are there historic differences that are preventing us from reaching out and establishing those relationships, and how do we get past those? And that's something I think that our community is struggling with in terms of the white community versus in the Black community in Buffalo. What kinds of truths need to be spoken in order for that relationship to experience healing. We're going through this in our denomination now because of the Native American schools and our support of those and our complicity in that kind of trauma. How do we get past that history so that we can really have that neighborly relationship?
I think it's good to end with a question. It's not like we have the answers. We're going to continue the discussion on Sunday. Hope some of you will join in person, I believe. 10:15 at North Presbyterian. We're going to shift towards the end of the service, and I'll turn it back over to Cantor to lead us in Aleinu, a prayer that says it's up to us to do more than just pray, but to go out and do good work in this world. If you're able to rise, please rise. Cantor, you might still be on mute. This is what happens when we don't do Zoom in a little while. All these little steps.
Oh my, it's dizzying. Here we go. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו
On that day, we will all be one and unified as one community and one world. We're going to turn to our Mourners Kaddish. As a community, we are remembering Myrna Morris, Sonia Breitbart, Neil Ehrenreich, and Donald Sirota, all who passed in the last month. On our yard site list from years past, we remember Frederick Barish, Phyllis Barish, Walter Bluestone, Mildred Bosla, Rose Cassover, Yvette Robinson Chutkow, Norman Cohen, May Corris, Daniel Engel, Lee J. Edelson, Anne Freed, Max Fry, Yefim Gelfler, Edith Goldstein, Morris Heskins, Florence Kaplan, Donnie Kirsch, Carl Klein, Mayor Corris, Harry Lane, Robert Lessis, Adele Levitas, Shirley Marquesi, Robert Mesh, Carl Myers, Caroline Nash, Rose Nosnitsky, Bessie Ostreicher, Miriam Radlin, Henrietta Cohen Schechter, Helen Sherman, Pearl Scheif, Judy Shirelitz, Betty Schuster, Esther Sheik, Lynn Slater, Yvette Strauss, Sanford Sugarman, and Nathan Unher. If you have other names you'd like to say, feel free to unmute yourself.
Helen,
Genserick.
sorry. Helen Ablov.
Helen Genserick.
And those of us whose custom it is to rise, we rise and will recite the Mourners Kaddish. Yitkadal, Yikadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'alma, Divrach, V'retei V'yamlik Makute, Chayachon, V'yamachon, V'chayed, V'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agalav, V'zman, Kariv, V'yamramein, Yehi Shemei Rabbah, V'rach, Le'olam, Olmeim Ayah, V'parak, V'yishtabak, V'pa'ar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, Tadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shemei D'Kudashah, V'rechu, Le'lam Yikol Birchatav V'shiratav, Tush B'chatav Nechamatab, Damiran V'yalma V'yimramein, Yesh Lam Rabbamin Shemaya, Chaim Aleinu V'yakol Yisrael V'yimramein, Oseh Shalom V'yimrav, Huyaseh Shalom Aleinu V'yakol Yisrael, V'kol Yishvei Tevel V'yimramein. May God grant peace to us in our community and in the world, and we say Amen. You may be seated. Zikranam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. At this point, we'll turn it back over to Bruce to offer the announcements.
Okay, Shabbat Shalom again, everyone. Thank you to Rabbi Alex and Cantor Frank for a beautiful winter service, and a special thank you to Reverend Bill Hennessy for joining us tonight for our pulpit exchange. What a wonderful tradition we have of doing this, and it's always so interesting and thought-provoking. What an interesting topic tonight. And speaking of being good neighbors, that's what we do at CSS and North Presbyterian this very same weekend, the weekend before Thanksgiving, with our Thanksgiving basket drive, which, God, we got to be closing in on 40 years that we've been doing that. I know it's over 35. So it's just remarkable how many years we've done this. And and how many families we've helped. I want to say thank you to everyone who went over to North Presbyterian today at 5 o'clock. Last minute notification of that because of the weather, we did the basket assembly today at 5 instead of tomorrow morning. So a thank you to everyone that was involved in that, and thank you to Chris Cohan for all his efforts every year to get this thing on our end. And then Sunday morning, weather permitting, of course, they'll be there at 9 o'clock to hand out the baskets to the organizations that come and take them and distribute them to the families. So if you'd like to help out that morning, please do so. Again, we've been doing this together for such a long time, and it's such a wonderful, wonderful thing that we do together. It just means a lot. Tomorrow morning, believe it or not, we have stuff coming up, even though there's this snowstorm hitting all around us. Tomorrow morning, we will be virtual for Torah study at 9 and the Shabbat morning service and virtual Kiddush luncheon at 11. Check the website for the links. I want to say thank you to everyone who, and by the way, Reverend Hennessy and Rabbi Alex did mention that Rabbi Alex will be joining Reverend Hennessy at the church services Sunday morning at 10:15 over at North Presbyterian. I should have reiterated that when I was talking about what a wonderful weekend this is for our two organizations. Thank you to everyone who volunteered or purchased Shavettas. We have one more before we're going to take a break. That will be on December 6th, 4 o'clock till sold out. Reserve your dinner online, save a buck. Then we're going to take a break till April. So you won't see me out there in the parking lot in January and February or March. We'll take a break from it. But we just want to thank everyone, our volunteers and the people that support it. We have people there that are every time that support it. I see Walter here tonight. He's a regular, and a number of our workers are here tonight as well. So thank you all. It just means a lot to the temple that we do that. Pickleball is here, or as I said on the high holidays, kosher dill pickleball be for our temple. We had our open house Wednesday night. About 35 people showed up. Thank you to President Todd Sugarman, who coordinated and sponsored our 2 pickleball courts in our social hall for our members to enjoy. We are going to have a pickleball open play Monday night. That is from 6:30 to 8:30. If you have any questions, you can contact David Sapphire. No experience necessary to play pickleball. Far more important for our temple, no athletic skills necessary to play pickleball. Just show up and have fun. Thank you to Ganila Kester for organizing our Buffalo Corner reading series. Last night was going to be in person. It got moved to virtual, and we still had about 35 people for it. Stay tuned for info for the next one. We're doing that on a monthly basis. Thank you to everyone. A lot of thank yous. And we're coming up on Thanksgiving. Good time for thank yous. Thank you to everyone who ordered pies and fudge for the Women of Shir Shalom Becker Farms fundraiser. You will be able, if you ordered, you'll be able to pick up your goodies Sunday from 11:45 to 12:45. That's a different time than was originally announced. And then Tuesday from 4 to 6. So they're doing it as a drive-through. So pick up your pies, pick up your fudge, and then enjoy. Other upcoming events are in your service leaflet. And even though you didn't come to services tonight, you can still get the service leaflet. All you have to do is go to the website, click Watch Services Live, and you scroll down to the service leaflet. So you could even print it out from the website or take a picture of it with your phone. Whatever you want to do, you can have it. So you'll always know what's coming up, because you don't want to miss out on anything at Congregation Shir Shalom. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out to Rabbi Alex, Cantor Frank, Joanne Todd, or myself. We are here for you. Stay warm, stay safe. Shabbat Shalom. Have a happy Thanksgiving. If you have travel plans, hello. I hope they are uneventful and the weather cooperates. And enjoy your own oneg tonight. I hope everyone took a cookie and individually wrapped it for your oneg in your own house tonight. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
I can't iterate how much fun pickleball is. We had everyone from my son, 9 years old, to people in almost 80 or in their 80s. And Reverend Hennessy, maybe we'll have to have a little challenge, or maybe we can be a team together.
Oh, we could do an interfaith intramural.
Yeah. So you have to come. It's really, we only have the 2 courts, but it is a lot of fun. And if you haven't tried it, please come out on Monday to give it a try. So we have a wonderful closing song that Cantor has picked out that is perfect for our Pulpit Exchange weekend.
I got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. Back to the top. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul, in my soul.
Joanne, do you have a challah?
Does the challah show on the screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Yes,
Joanne, would you like to do the challah blessing?
sure. Please join me.
Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. As you came in peace, may you leave in peace. If you want to stay around for a minute to talk to one another, feel free. Hopefully we'll be back in person with regular services next week. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom. Thanks, Bill.
And Bruce, you were right. Absolutely.
Shabbat shalom.
No, Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Thank you
Shabbat
again, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bill, it's always
well.
a pleasure to have you here for this. It really
Thanks
is.
so much.
What a wonderful relationship our 2 congregations have.
It's a real privilege for me. I really appreciate it. You all take care.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Thank
See you on
you.
Good
Sunday.
night, all. Happy Thanksgiving and stay warm.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Bye,
Bye.
then.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.